there are many species, and I'm convinced they have different agendas. Just like maybe the United States, Russia, China might have different agendas. So if you say, well, what do Earthlings think? Well, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the Russians or the Americans or the Germans or who? And I think there have been face-to-face meetings, probably with species who look very much like humans. And some of them come from planets in our own solar system. And they are people who could be walking down the corridors of the Pentagon and would be unrecognized. Then there are other species, such as the Greys, for example, which are very distinct in their looks. They're short, they have very large heads, very long arms, and very big eyes, and they're more like the ones that we usually see in the cartoons of extraterrestrials. They're not little green men, which we used to say, little green men from Mars, but they're short, dark-skinned, what they were designated as by the United States government, extraterrestrial biological entities, EBs. So the EBs, that group of them, look very different. And they may have an agenda which is quite different from some of the others, because there are different degrees of spirituality. And in the meantime, the MJ-12, this is the very small elite group that President Truman set up to manage the extraterrestrial file and to report directly to the president. They allegedly made a deal with the Greys to exchange technology and to allow them to do a limited number. That's a joke to say, but the deal was a limited number of abductions in exchange for technology. And that as a result of this arrangement, over the years, the United States has managed to what we call back engineer or replicate the extraterrestrial technology, both on the weapons side and on the transportation side, to the point where Dr. Stephen Greer's witnesses said about the flying saucers, you can't tell whether it's one of theirs or one of ours because they look so much alike. So they have made tremendous progress in 60 years, and they have developed very powerful weapons, far more powerful than anything they had before. And they have, according to Ben Rich, who was the former head of the Lockheed Skunk Works, which was working on these kinds of vehicles, they now have, as he said, quote, the capability of taking E.T. home. And so when you say happiness, I think you have to then say happiness between whom and by whom, because there's no carte blanche single answer to that question. I know that there is some concern about one breed of reptilians, and that maybe they have some connection with the Greys, I don't know. But again, you can't, it's not carte blanche, because there are branches of the reptilians. And there are allegedly some good, positive creatures in this with that name. But the United States, when it was briefing presidents, has always said that most of them are benign, but there was one that wasn't. They've never named the one. No one's ever told me who it was. But I suspect they're talking about this one branch of the reptilians, who, if you wanted a nice way to sum it up, would represent the dark. And on the other hand, the people from Mars and Venus and Saturn, who look more like us, are more spiritual, and who would represent the light. So it's not an easy question. No definitive answer, because I don't know precisely what the answer is. I suspect no one knows 100%. When I say no one, I mean no human in the realm of authority. But there are certainly people in the United States cabal who have more information about this subject than any of the rest of us, because they have been collecting it assiduously for years and years, and they have probably had more contact with different groups over a longer period than just about anybody else. So they have a lot to disclose when we can get them to disclose it. But disclosure is essential. The information is there. It's in the public domain. But the cabal owns so much of the press, both print and electronic, that it's not going to get into the press that would convince him, like his own paper. And that is a problem.